up, brother? Good to see you. You too, man. Let's do it.
How's the leg?
Oh, trashed, but less trashed than 2 days ago, for sure. They're feeling good. They're recovering. Everything feels like healthy soreness. Nothing feels like, oh shoot, we might have to go get this looked at anymore. So I'm feeling very happy about that. So race day morning, I woke up at 4. The race didn't start until 7, but I knew I wanted to get up early, go ahead and get my body up and running, get some food in me as early as I could, and also just make sure I could clear out my system before the race. Started stretching out just a little bit to wake my body up, then hopped in the car at about 5:30, got to the race at 6, and then from there, headed on into where the race was starting. Got stretched out, had a little bit more of my carb electrolyte mix, and then towed the start line.
How you feeling, bro?
I feel good. I feel a lot more jittery than I thought I would. And I mean, I guess that's just how it goes. My stomach feels good. My legs feel great. So yeah.
That's all you can ask for.
That's all I can ask for.
Weather's
feeling
perfect.
good. Weather is unbelievable. I'm gonna be bundled up right until the very last minute because it's kind of cold, but it's gonna be great while I'm running.
The morning of, everything felt great. I was feeling like 100%. I didn't have any concerns. I had that little knee thing that had been bothering me like a week and a half prior to the race, but all of that was gone. Body felt 100%. I did notice, I always try not to look, but I noticed my Whoop recovery score was like 18% that morning. And so I just tried to get that out of my head as quick as possible and not put too much stock in that. I don't know why it was what it was, but I slept pretty solid other than waking up super early, obviously. But yeah, deep sleep, felt great. Body felt 100%. So I was ready to give it everything I had.
Good, feel ready. I'm warm enough. I'll get a little warmer. I'm gonna try to hit the bathroom one more time, and then nothing else to it but to do it.
30 minutes. Come on.
I'm doing the same thing. He's faster than me. I might try to run. Let me try to sneak up here.
I want to get you started on time in exactly 3 minutes. 3 minutes, so you are underway.
From the start, I was feeling really strong. We were just logging off miles, myself and Brendan, my buddy. We were hitting, 708, 707, 710, 709. Just mile after mile, we were averaging like 708, 709, something like that going into the halfway point. And we were feeling good. Everything was feeling great. I was feeling like, just starting to constantly reevaluate the plan after every mile and deciding how you want to execute the latter half of the race. And body was feeling good, so I was like, okay, maybe like mile 20, we'll try to hold this, 7:08, 7:09, 7:10, whatever, and then try to kick it a little bit and finish a little stronger. But then we started going through some pretty solid hills around the halfway point, through this graveyard, some turns, some winding roads.
You at like 16? Yes, sir. All right, you're killing it.
And I had all my gels in me. I was on track. I was thinking, nutrition-wise, we're going to be fine. We'll just have to make sure my fitness can hold out for this last half of the race. Coming up on 18, I had the faintest hint of a little cramp in my left calf, and then it happened again probably 5 minutes later in that same left calf.
Calves and quads are cramping like a mug.
You got it, Lucas.
And that's when I started to get a little bit concerned, and so I started to slow up just a little bit, trying to reevaluate where my body was at. Went ahead and took another gel to hopefully get ahead of the fueling there, because I was thinking, okay, maybe I'm a little bit under-fueled. Something's obviously going on here. And throughout all of my training, I had never had any issues with cramping. So unfortunately, it wasn't something I was familiar with finding a solution to. So I was trying to just grit it out as long as I could, and the cramps just continued going up. They locked up both calves and then continued going up my legs until it was both hamstrings and then both quads. And so eventually, after like scraping my toes a couple times through strides and almost tripping, I was like, okay, let's just stop for a second. Let's try to stretch this out, and then maybe we can just finish strong. Stopped, started stretching, everything just cramped up worse. And so I decided to just try and grit it out as much as I could. And that looked like striding as long as I could at like 8:30 pace, something like that, which felt really slow at the time, but that was the best I could get my legs to do until they would fully seize up again, and I would stop, walk it out, stretch it. And this started pretty intensely at like mile 18 and a half. So I still had a very long way to go, and I knew at that point it was going to be a really long day. I caught up with my buddy Andrew, who was unfortunately going through the exact same thing, and he and I decided to stick together, run when we could, walk, stretch when we needed to, and just stick the race out together and cross the finish line together. And that's what we did, and it was really cool to have somebody there to experience that with. And I'm glad he was there, because if not, I might still be out there on the trail. It was just a really long day, really long race, a lot of pain that I went through. But I also feel a lot of peace knowing that I gave it everything I had, and I truly felt like there was nothing more I could do in that moment. Like fitness seemed there. I wasn't really that tired, but my legs just were not working the way that I needed them to in that moment. And so I know now that there's some things that I'll need to work on for my next race, and just figure out the whole nutrition and cramping thing, try to look into what went wrong there a little bit more, to hopefully never experience that again, because it was pretty brutal. Yeah, it's funny looking back on, because we both talked so much about just the unknown of the marathon and feeling like, all the boxes were checked as far as what you would, workouts you need to hit, things like that, going in to make me think that sub 3:15 was very realistic. And then the unknown just hit out of nowhere. And like I said, cramps were never something that I experienced in training. And so it was the last thing I was worried about. Truthfully, the biggest things I was worried about was trying to not to poop my pants or throw up during the race, just with all those gels and everything under that level of effort. And then potentially just going out too fast and just not having the fitness to close. And it didn't feel, the fitness was never like fully put to the test, but it never felt like those were going to be an issue, but the cramps were. And for that to just come up out of nowhere and humble me was surprising. So whenever things started to get really hard, legs started seizing up, the word dead last popped into my mind an awful lot, especially as I'm hobbling down the side of the trail. Runners are passing me by. I was like, man, we're going to be really making the dead last name proud today. There was a time where I thought, you might come in absolutely dead last, Lucas. This is crazy. And it was just a very humbling moment But then after the race, I got back home, I had my medal, I hung it up in my closet next to the other ones, and there was the one from last year's half marathon, the same race. And I realized that my average pace from this one, even with all of the shortcomings, was just a hair slower than my average pace from that half marathon. And so it was just really cool to look back on and know that that version of me would still have been stoked with this effort that I ran this past weekend. And so that was just a really cool full circle moment. And I felt a lot of gratitude in that moment.